Return to the soul. Return again. Return again. Return to the home of the soul. Return to what you are. Return to who you are. Return to who you are. Return again. Return again. Return to the one.
Hello.
This happens to me every year, and so it's not a big deal.
So it's you who does this.
All right.
Comes from competency.
Okay. Are we good?
We don't get to go on.
Okay.
Great, we can start. Just a couple of things before we begin. A number of years ago, some number of years ago, I don't even remember the name, a group of congregants from Kol HaLev got together with Rabbi Steve and expressed the interest in trying to find an alternative way of celebrating not only the High Holy Days, but also the Shabbat services, which for some people were a little long, were a little wordy. There were sometimes conflicts with the whole idea of God concept, and there were definitely some conflicts in terms of the patriarchy involved, and I would say philosophical differences. So we came up with the idea of an alternative experiential service, not so much experiential as alternative. And as a result, fifth Shabbat of the month, when they occurred, was set aside as an alternative Shabbat service. And at the same time, Dick Weinberger and I got together and collaborated on the first Rosh Hashanah service. Dick, the following year, came up with a Yom Kippur service, and we've been doing it for, I don't know, at least, well, 2, 3, 4 weeks, doesn't matter. So that's the genesis of the whole thing. Just to bring those of you who may not know up to date. That's it. A little bit more about the service itself. I really don't have any kind of grasp in the concept of God. It's very difficult to do. Vertical references to him vertical hit. It's a word, it's an idea, but it's not something that we have to stumble over. It's not something we have to spend a lot of time thinking about. It's there to let us know that speaking to someone, hopefully to ourselves as well as to some other creative endeavor or whatever. I use Marcia Falk's Between the Days, basically because it gives me an opportunity to kind of explore the service in the way that I think I would like to hear it. So what you're basically hearing is my editing of a whole bunch of things to reflect this service. And it's a time for us all to sit down and spend some time with ourselves. I think the root for prayer actually comes to speaking to yourself, praying to yourself. And I find that to be a very comforting thought. So with no further ado, we will begin, and I will ask Happy Wallace if she could do the reading number 1. Happy, oh yeah.
Opening the heart. For things to reveal themselves to us, we need to be ready to abandon our views about them. By Thich Nhat Hanh. At the year's turn, in the days between, we step away from what we know. Wall and window, roof and road, into the spaces we cannot yet name. Cloud and sky, cloud and wings. Slowly, the edges begin to yield, the hard places soften. Wind and clover, reed and river. The gate to forgiveness opens. And that's by Marcia Falk.
Thank you. Thank you. And Linda Silk, please, for reading number 2.
Forgiveness. God, thank you for help. We're talking to the microphone, right? Thank you for helping me see that each pose of my life is perfect, that I have arrived, that I have always been where I need to be, living perfect moments. With your help, I relinquish my need to judge. Help me to grow with love, acceptance, and curiosity. Thank you for lighting my way, for gently illuminating a path in the darkness. Let it now be, and always be, yet another exquisite phase. For the crimes against myself, I am sorry. For all of my slips and falls, I forgive myself. Rabbi Karen Kedar.
Thank you. We'll be giving some time for the last reading to sink in, just a little bit of space. And at various points throughout, we will we'll have some time for a little further reflection and personal observations, should you wish to share. Okay. All right, moving right along to reading number 3, Rachel Williams.
Mila, another door opens. I have come to the conclusion that there is no book, no final decree. There is only choice, and we must actively choose life. We must let ourselves be chosen. Nothing we do can determine that. What we do get to decide is what kind of life we do choose. The closing of the gates is no final seal for the upcoming year. We all know that when one door closes, another door opens. So no, this cannot be the end. This must be some kind of beginning. Death is inevitable. We do not get to choose the when, the where, the why, the how. What we do get to choose is the quality of the time we have. And when we say choose life, we have to grab onto this one life we have and decide to get to know it authentically.
Thank you. Dick Weinberger. This is the second half, just in case.
It is a wrestling match at times, but we are most often right here, somewhere in the middle of the story. The beginning was written long ago. The first several chapters were not our choosing. And the end is the great unknown. So what are we going to do with now? The real grappling is not what to do with the rest of our lives, but rather what to do with the todays and tomorrows, the highs and lows, the blessed and the mundane, the hands to hold along the way and the times we must walk alone and afraid. It is not in reaching the highest peak and knowing you have arrived. We are always arriving. There is no final destination. The journey is the goal. There is a constant rhythm of opening and closing gates. There is no other way to get to the here-ness and the now-ness and to what lies ahead. We fall, we rise, we grow, we stumble again, we lift ourselves back up, we grieve, we celebrate, we create joy, we bless, we curse, we join, we lead, we walk, we dance. There is no judgment. There is no final decree. We are going through gates all the time.
Thank you. Joanne, would you be willing to read number 5, please?
Of course.
Thank you.
A prayer for forgiveness. We forgive, not because another requires it, but because our souls demand it. Forgiveness is like a tonic, soothing away the pain of a wrong done. We forgive to heal. We forgive to repair. We forgive to live again. Where once we were trapped, we become freed. Where once we were held back, we move forward even stronger. We forgive to heal ourselves. We forgive to let go. We forgive because forgiveness given is forgiveness received, and we deserve forgiveness. We forgive them. We pardon them. We let go of the pain. Suzanne Sobransky.
Thank you. For the folks on Zoom, If you would be interested in reading, please push the little button that raises your hand on screen. And I'm not guaranteeing anything, but if we need you, I'd love to have you. Thank you. This next reading is to be read silently, and when I think it's enough time, and when Joanne thinks it's enough time, she'll do a few minutes of the Nigun melody. Joanne will be doing the Nigun melody to take us out of the reading, and we can have a few minutes of reflection and conversation if we choose. So please read silently, A Reconstructionist Understanding of Sin and Salvation.
Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to what you are. Return to who you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. Return again. Return again. Return to the home of your soul.
Take a few minutes for reflection and later conversation. We'll do some quiet reflection at this point and then open it up for personal observations, etc. And if I'm not speaking loud enough, just tell me to raise my voice. Thank you very much.
I think it's easier said than done to not brood about what has already been done. I don't know about all of you, but with the following phrase, but try to learn from our experience how to do better. I sometimes wonder where that comes from about brooding on what was already done, whether we're all trying for perfection. I'm not sure.
I think we're just trying to get better.
Why do we have to dwell on what we didn't do right?
We don't have to. Why do we have to? I don't think we have to. Please.
I agree. I think the thing part of that is about Mordecai Kaplan's about wrongdoing and wrong being. I think taking the being and talk about isolated event and seeing, hopefully that's gonna help me with not brooding. I was lucky enough to read the reading four as someone who's just retired from practice. I'm kind of like in the throes of kind of like figuring how to be and rather than just what I am or what I was, you know, and kind of realizing it's a first world problem, but a roof over my head, but it's still something I'm struggling with. So I appreciate that was in here because it helps me to reflect on allowing me to be in a space of not necessarily knowing and being present.
Thank you, thank you. There is a funny little quote that I've been wrestling with for a long time, and that is, not knowing is most intimate. So I keep going back to it to find out what it really means. But it's a good returning point at times. Others? On Zoom. We have any comments on Zoom? None. Thank you. Okay. All right. Moving right along. The utter sanctity of this day. Unatana Tokef is not about bribing God with our repentance, nor is it about magic. It is about facing mortality and seeking the redemptive power of God's presence through lives of spiritual seriousness and moral goodness. We are capable of submitting our lives to judgment, but judgment should not be understood as an alien and arbitrary force. Rather, it is the process of personal insight and inner renewal that initiates redemption of ourselves and our world. There is reciprocity here. God calls on us and we call on God. Our partnership puts a human face on the divine as we proclaim the awe-filled holiness of this moment. And I'm looking to see if Chip May is available, and he is not. So do we have someone who would like to read the alternative Unatana Tokef? Wait, we have a number of hands. Can I go over, please? Joel, before you start, let me just throw in one thing. There are footnotes in the Unatana Tokef that we will not read, but I encourage you to go to those footnotes, unless you want to read them. Go to those footnotes and read them for yourself. Please.
Reading 7.
I'm sorry.
This one.
Alternative, yes, reading 7. I'm sorry, yes.
On Rosh Hashanah it is written, on Yom Kippur it is sealed, that this year people will live and die, some more gently than others, and nothing lives forever. But amidst overwhelming forces of nature and humankind, we still write our own book of life. And our actions are the words in it. And the stages of our lives are the chapters. And nothing goes unrecorded ever. Every deed counts. Everything you do matters. And we never know what act or word will leave an impression or tip the scale. So, if not now, then when? For the things we can change, there is teshuvah, realignment. For the things we cannot change, there is tefillah, prayer. For the help we can give, there is tzedakah, justice. Together, let us write a beautiful book of life for the Holy One to read. By Rabbi Joseph Messler.
Would you like to just read the footnotes? Just
Sure, there are sources for those lines, and you don't have it in front of you. For the overall, it explains the traditional Unatana Tokev prayer has a long list of ways that people die, often violently. The purpose of that prayer is to shock us into realizing our mortality. The original prayer, however, can be traumatizing, especially if your loved one's life was just cut short. This prayer seeks a more empathetic approach to mortality. At the time of the writing of this prayer, the world is facing unthinkable natural disasters exacerbated by climate change and terrifying threats of political upheaval. While some references to the book of life in the Hebrew Bible has God writing us in or blotting us out of a metaphorical book of life, Rabbi Akiva in Avot 3:16 has people doing the writing for themselves with their deeds, and everything is recorded. This prayer takes that Rabbi Akiva's approach. In Lurianic Kabbalah, holy deeds make an impression upon the cosmos. And the next sections are references from Talmud, Rosh Hashanah 17b, from Hillel, the famous one, you know, if not now when. Hillel is from Pirkei Avot 1:14. And then there's an explanation of why he's translating repentance. He's asking us to translate tzedakah, repentance as realign. And the last one, this author is asking us to translate tzedakah not as charity, but to righteousness or justice. Our task, says this rabbi, is to alleviate suffering.
thank you, thank you. And we'll take a few minutes for reflection of this particular piece. Let us recite together the Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Listen, O Israel, the many are one. Please, we can all do it together. Loving life in its mysterious source, with all our heart and all our spirit, all our senses and strength. We take upon ourselves and into ourselves these promises, to care for the earth and all that live upon it, to pursue justice and peace, to love kindness and compassion. We will teach this to our children throughout the passage of the day, as we dwell in our homes and as we go on the journeys. Until we fall asleep. Be faithful to our words, that our children's children may live to know truth and kindness have embraced Peace and justice have kissed, and we are one. We're going to be moving into the shofar service, but in many Jewish communities, the shofar is not blown on Shabbat. However, it may be blown here in the service across the hall. I think that it may be. That's as qualified as I can make it. And we'll have an opportunity to hear it. But however, we do have Rosh Hashanah, so everyone is invited back to hear the shofar blowing then. So we're covered, I think, in either way. While Melkayot, Zikronot, and Shofarot are the major themes of the traditional service, this service uses Marcia Falk's creative license, albeit in an unadapted version, to bring me and hopefully us to the way. Do I have a reader for the description of the shofar calls, please? Would someone please? Louise.
Am I supposed to start from Tekiah there?
Yeah, Tekiah down to reading. Do all four, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tekiah is an unbroken sound calling us to examine our inner self, to let go of old habits that limit our efforts of compassion and forgiveness. A sound to awaken us to return to our spiritual journey. Shavarim is a wave-like sound of alarm calling us to break camp, to start out again. Tekiah is a broken sound to remind us that we have missed the mark in our relationship to ourselves and others, that calls us to awaken to our realization of the need to change our ways. Tekiah Gadolah is a prolonged, unbroken sound, a wailing appeal of sincere repentance and atonement.
Thank you. We don't need it. Julia, could you please take number 9?
Malkuliot, sovereignty. Kavanah, at the hand held before the eye hides the tallest mountain, so the small earthly life hides from our gaze the vast radiance and secrets of which the world is full. And if we can take life from before our eyes, as one takes away one's hand, we will see the great radiance within the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Phyllis Maris, please. Thank you.
Very slowly. Oh,
You don't have
never
to,
mind.
just by the microphone.
Just put it closer.
Synchronote. Excuse me. Remembering Darash. On the first day of the world's birth, the whole world was in a state of potential. Contemplating that newborn world, we feel awe at the fact of creation. On Rosh Hashanah, we are reminded that today is that first day. We contain within us the awesome and godly potential of our creation. That potential is in our hands.
Thank you. Alan Fetterman, thank you.
Maimonides speaks of the shofar as an awakening. We want to awaken to a higher awareness that gives us perspective from which we can see the unskilled actions of our life and how we can improve them. The word shofar can be derived from the shafar, fixing or improving. Shakru Mashem Shofarot encourages us to repair our deeds. The awareness provided by shofar blast enhances our experience of this reflective day. Rabbi Zion Shakru.
Normally, we would stand for the blow. Normally, we would stand for the blowing of the shofar, but I think we'll just remain seated. We'll do the blessing before what would be the reading, the blowing, I'm sorry. And then we'll say we'll have some time in silence to see if we can generate that sound, that inner voice within us while we're here. And then we will finish with the blessing after the period of silence. Neverek et in Hakaim Atomeket Beneshama Kayenu Shehubu Anu Shomim Ashofar Viet Kol Neshama. Thank you. Let us bless the source of life, supporting our life breath, through which we hear the voice of the shofar and the voice of our souls. Neverek et Mayam Kayenu Shehekianu Bekiyamanu Behiyanu Lazman Hazet. Let us bless the flow of life that revives us, sustains us, and brings us to this time. Thank you all. Thank you. Could you come a little closer to this one microphone? Thank you.
Okay, this is a lovely poem by Devin Spear. It's called Come Home, a Rosh Hashanah meditation. To the daughter who does not visit her mother, we say, come home. To the mother whose family has perished from old age or enmity, we say, come home. To the son whose father is unknown, we say, come home. And to the brokenhearted,
who has been bounded by all of this or none of it, we say, come home. As you turn to us during these holy days, let us turn to you. Our souls walking toward each other and welcoming each other on the long and mysterious walk home.
We'll take a few more minutes for reflection, and then we will move into the Kaddish. And I'd like to say right now, for people who are saying Kaddish during the traditional mourning periods or yard sites, please rise, and the rest of the congregation, the group here, will join in with you at Yehei Shmei Rabbah. So let us take a few minutes to reflect the past readings, and then we'll ask Bellamy Prince to do reading number 13.
This is attributed to Hannah Senesh. There are stars whose radiance is visible on earth, though they long have been extinct. There are people whose brilliance continues to light the world, though they are no longer among the living. These lights are particularly bright when the night is dark. They light the way for all people.
So, anyone observing yard sites? Yes,
Ira Barnett.
please stand and let us know for whom. And thank you. Anyone on Zoom? Yeah.
My father, Harry Ira Barnett.
If you can hear us, we'll be back. Would you like to say? Okay. Please unmute yourself, folks. Allie and
Okay. My father, Harry Ira Barnett.
thank you. Allie? And Nancy Hecht, thank you. No? Okay. The magic of science. Anyone else? No? Okay. We're trying. Please begin. Oh, say shalom. Say shalom. Israel. Amen. Please be seated. Let's read together the last poem by Dana Fald, at which point Joanne will put us back into the Nigun mode, and after Nigun, we will have reflection, personal thoughts, observations, etc. So let us begin. Release the harsh and pointed inner voice. It's just a throwback to the past and holds no truth about this moment. Let go of self-judgment, the old learned ways of beating yourself up for each imagined inadequacy. Allow the dialogue within the mind to grow friendly and quiet. Shift out of inner criticism, and life suddenly looks different. I can say this only because I make the choice 100 times a day to release the voice that refuses to acknowledge the real me. What's needed here isn't more prodding toward perfection, but intimacy, seeing clearly and embracing what I see. Love, not judgment, stows the seeds of tranquility and change.
Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Return to what you are. Reborn again. Return again. Return again. Return to the home of your soul. Return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to. Reborn again. Return again. Return to the old soul.
I just wanted to say, I very much like the idea of redemption as being a release from self-criticism. It's going to stay with you throughout this.
Thank you. My own reflection on this putting together and being here this morning is that I need what I call a practice, we all call a practice, that allows us to stay in the moment in many, if not all, of the situations that we find ourselves in. And interestingly enough, while I was in the El Ul service, that's where it was, I had a little thought that came into my head, and I'd like to share it with you, and that is coming into a sacred space, whatever it may be, is in fact the beginning of prayer. But staying present and being present and focusing on that service is the prayer, whether we say it out loud or in our heads or in our hearts. So if we came close to that today, I feel it's good for, I think, us all. Other comments, observations, etc. If not, yes, I'm sorry. Sure, come on up.
I'm not quite sure how to articulate this, but I think a lot about the challenge of forgiveness, particularly towards myself, but forgiveness for an event that occurred many years ago that that created tremendous harm. I did not cause it, but I have a sense of responsibility for it. And so I realized that in holding on to this challenge, I continue to perpetuate the damage of the event just because I keep holding on to the energy of it. And so I'm really struggling with this this edict to let go of it, just let go of it and move on. And there's a part of me that feels like if I let go of it, then I'm no longer honoring the event. And So I'm striving to reframe the idea that in letting go of it, I'm not dishonoring the event. I'm actually honoring it by allowing it to evolve. So thank you for letting me articulate that. I actually hadn't really gotten to that until just this moment. So I'm very, very grateful. Thank you. Yeah.
Other comments, observations? Yes.
So I want to thank you for giving us in particular, well, the whole service, but in particular, the reading number 3 by somebody who I don't know named Sarah Mayo or Mayo about Ne'ilah opening, when one door closes, another door opens, because we do have this whole picture of like, okay, you know, only 9 more days and we're sunk if we don't do it right. And I really like this, especially the parts where she says, you know, when one door closes, another one opens. Because that way, in case, I don't feel like denying, I don't have a need to deny the authenticity of the original prayers, that at that moment, the gate is about to close and the gate does close. So I prefer not to deny it. We could, but I prefer not to. And this person gives me an opportunity to not deny that it closes, but to recognize that even in the tradition, as soon as Yom Kippur ends, you're reminded that, hey, you have the opportunity to move forward and be your better self, and you know, build a sukkah tomorrow morning early, or whatever it is that you or just, you know, start behaving in ways that are different from what you just apologized for.
Exactly.
So thank you.
And thank you. Thank you. Others? Oh, yes, Alan.
That I was struck by, happened before I got here, but I managed to read it. Which is the one sentence by Thich Nhat Hanh. For things to reveal themselves to us, we need to be ready to abandon our views about them. And I thought of that in 2 ways. One is that once we've seen something or experienced something, we no longer really see it. We just kind of see what we saw. And it's hard to see it again, to experience it again. And I think it goes true also for how we see ourselves. We hold on to how we are, we don't change.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. A good and sweet year for you, and inscribe yourselves in the book of life. And Rabbi's sermon begins at 10:15. So 11:15, I'm sorry. I'll wake up. 11:15. So please have a good rest of the day. Enjoy the sermon. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, even though I never really loved your melody, it's kind of feels drony, but so I recently figured out, so this is